Hey, this is Shiley, and you're watching Eat Breathe Books. Whenever I do that, I feel like I'm like on Disney Channel. So today I'm coming at you guys with something I think is really exciting and a little belated, I hope you don't mind, but it's my top 15 books that I read in 2015. So not all of the books came out in 2015, some of them didn't, but that's okay. I mean, whatever, I read them in 2015 and I wanted to share it with you guys. So I'm not really gonna do this in a specific order, I'm kind of just gonna grab book, talk about it. Hope that's okay. Let's get it poppin'. So the first book, or books actually, that I want to talk to you about today is The Raven Boys and the Dream Thieves, both by MAGGIE STIEFVATER. And if you don't know, these are the first two books in the Raven Cycle Quartet, so 4 books in the series. The 4th book comes out, I think, April 26th. Correct me if I'm wrong, I think I'm right. So yeah, I read the first 2 books late last year, and I absolutely love them. Basically, the story is about a girl named Blue who comes from a family of psychics, and her whole life she's been told to stay away from the Aglion boys, or the Raven Boys, which are boys that go to this specific prep school where they live in Virginia, I believe. And basically, obviously, stuff happens, and she ends up befriending them, and they go on crazy adventures trying to find this legendary Welsh king, and it's honestly so unique, so amazing, unlike anything I've ever read before, and I definitely recommend them, and that's why they made it onto my top books of 2015 list. The next book I want to talk about is probably not a surprise if you know me at all, but it is Hopeless by Colleen Hoover. If you've been on my channel before, you know I love Colleen Hoover. Oh, and if you're new, hey, welcome. This book is basically about a girl named Skye who ends up meeting this guy named Dean, and Dean has had a very hard life, actually. And the story is really about the two of them befriending each other and coming together. You shouldn't know what it's about, just read it, because talk about plot twist. If you want a good plot twist, you're not gonna see it coming. Read this book. The sequel to this, by the way, is Losing Hope, and then there's a novella called Finding Cinderella, and I love those as well. They're sitting right there behind me. Definitely read those. I read other Colleen Hoover books last year, like Maybe Someday and the first part of Never Never, maybe something else by her, but, oh, and Confess, that was also really good. So yeah, I read a lot of Colleen Hoover books last year, but this one just really, really stood out to me. The next book I'm gonna talk about is My Heart and Other Black Holes, and this is by Jasmine Warga. This is her debut novel, and it basically follows around a girl named Azelle, and Azelle is depressed and she's suicidal, and she finds this website where you basically get a suicide partner, and you decide to commit on the same day, basically, together, so that you don't flake out and get afraid to do it. And so she basically meets this guy named Roman, and Roman obviously is also very troubled, and things get complicated. You know, it's not easy in black and white to just go through with something horrible like that, and so this story is really about their bond, and that maybe life is worth it after all, or maybe to them it's not. You'll have to read and find out. The next 2 books I'm going to talk about are The Selection and The Elite, the first 2 books in the Selection series by KIERA Cass. KIERA Cass knows how to write her stuff, okay? She knows how to write romance. These books are very, very good. Basically, it's a dystopian, very light, fun dystopian that feels kind of like a contemporary, and the story basically revolves around a girl named America, and where America lives in the United States, it's been reassembled into 35 different districts, sort of, and one girl from each district is taken to compete to become the next princess. And so America obviously gets chosen along with 34 other girls, and there's so much stuff. There's all different kinds of friendships and backstabbing and lies and romance. Oh, so much romance. And people compare it to The Bachelor, a dystopian version of The Bachelor, which I've never watched The Bachelor. I don't think I will ever will, because I'm not a fan of reality TV. But yeah, if that's something up your alley, then maybe go ahead and read it. The next book I'm going to talk about is something you've probably heard of, but it's Isla and the Happily Ever After. Why am I not talking about Anna, you ask? Because I read Anna and the French Kiss in 2014, and then I read Lola and the Boy Next Door and Isla and the Happily Ever After in 2015. I loved Lola, but I love Isla more. This basically is the 3rd book in this companion series, and it revolves around people in a boarding school in Paris, and it's very entertaining. The next book is one that I don't think is nearly talked about enough as much as it should, and it's called Sweet Thing, and it's by Renee Carlino. This basically focuses around a girl whose father recently passed away, and she never really knew him so well. They had a good relationship, but they just didn't live together, and so when he passes away, she takes over his cafe, and she lives in the apartment upstairs, and then she meets a singer named Will, and Will is fantastic. Will is eccentric. Will is just everything that she's not, and is looking for a place to live, so she lets him be her roommate. And it's all about just their friendship, and maybe more than friendship, and you know, I'm dealing with grief and moving on and lots of different beautiful aspects, and this book is just very, very, very good, and Renee Carlino is a wonderful writer, and I definitely recommend you check out this book by her. Next book I'm going to be talking about is one of my favorite books of all time, and I don't think that'll ever change, and it's We Were Liars by E. Lockhart. I'm not going to tell you at all what this is about, but if you're into plot twists, and you're into your mind just like reforming itself while it's trying to process this information, I would read this. I had a freak out attack. Like, I was listening to the audiobook, which I recommend, by the way. I was listening to the audiobook on my way to school, and I freaked out so much as we were getting closer to the end that I went in the bathroom, locked myself in the stall, and like freaked out. Like, that is how epic this story is. I listened to this in the summer, and I'm still going crazy thinking about it. It's so good. The next book I'm going to talk about is another one that definitely deserves more recognition, and it's called White Trash Beautiful, and this is by TERESA MUMMERT. And this book, it basically revolves around a girl named Cass Daniels, and Cass Daniels has had a very difficult life. She lives in a trailer park with her silent, almost beat down mother, her terrible abusive boyfriend. She works at a diner. She's treated terribly. People call her white trash. And one night she meets this kind of rock star, and it's about their relationship and her trying to get out of this mess that she's in, and it is so beautiful, and it really opened up to my eyes to the unfortunate and harsh realities that sadly some people have to face in life. There definitely is romance in here, but I would say that the focus is just, it's on her and her character development, and that's what I appreciate about this story so much. And if you want something that's super eye-opening and that'll really make you think and feel so many different feelings, then this is something that I really think that you should be reading. This next book I'm going to talk about is also very, very safe to say that will be one of my favorites of all time. It's something that I will always constantly recommend to people, and it's All the Right Places by Jennifer Niven. This book is so emotional and serious and beautiful. I cannot say enough good things about it. It's basically about two people who are very depressed and broken, suicidal, and they meet each other, and the relationship that they form with each other, and just being able to, it's dual perspective, being able to get in each of their minds is something that is kind of terrifying and kind of amazing. And this book is so quotable. I just wanted to rip out every word and just tack it up all over my walls. It was so beautiful. I can't say enough good things about this. Please read this. This really opened up my eyes and just, it genuinely made me a better person. It made me more, I guess, just sensitive to people who go through things like this, to people who unfortunately suffer from mental illness. Obviously, I was always sensitive, but reading this, especially because the author, she had a very, very close friend who dealt with his mental illness, and she kind of wrote this book inspired by those events that happened, and it just makes it all that more powerful. Just read this, like, just read it. The next book I'm going to talk about is also very underappreciated, and that's Magnolia by KRISTI Cook. This is about a girl named Gemma and a guy named Ryder, right? And basically, they've always been rivals, but their families have always wanted them to marry. And what's really cool about this story is that it takes place in the Midwest. This book is definitely like really amazing, and there's a lot of different really interesting characters in here, and a lot of drama and romance and family aspects, and it's also very heartfelt. If you've read the book that I'm about to talk about, you probably understand what I'm saying, but this is Fangirl by Rainbow Rowell. I love Rainbow Rowell. She's such a fantastic author. This basically is about a girl named Kath who has a twin sister named Ren, and they attend the same college, and they're living in dorms but not in the same room. And Kath is a fangirl. She's very into fan fiction and things like that, and her sister's trying to pull away from it. And so, you know, it's a lot about them trying to her trying to keep the relationship together, even though they're kind of drifting apart in college, unfortunately. There are definitely a lot of interesting characters in here, such as Kath's roommate Ren and her friend Levi, and it's so cute and sweet and very relatable, I believe, for first-time college students. But even if you're not a first-time college student, just read the book. I think you'll really like it. All the feels. Also very emotional and very serious at times. Very good. Read it. The next book I'm going to talk about, it's really funny that I'm talking about it even though I didn't rate it 5 stars, but there was something about it that was so compelling that I just had to talk about it, and that's How to Love by Katie COTUGNO. I really enjoyed this read. I read this in one sitting all night through. It follows a girl who gets pregnant in high school, and then 3 years later the father comes back to town. And so this book talks about the before and the now. I just kept wanting to turn the page. I didn't want to go to sleep. And so yeah, even though maybe there were a teeny tiny bit of issues with it here and there that didn't make me give it 5 stars, it's still something that I just really enjoyed reading, and how could I not talk about it? The next book I'm going to talk about is just super fun and also a little emotional, and it's Since You've Been Gone by Morgan Matson. And this book is basically about a girl named Emily, and her best friend Sloane is the opposite of her. Emily is very quiet, shy, sensitive, and Sloane is just she's outgoing, she's really out there. And Sloane basically disappears over the summer, and Emily finds a letter from her that gives her basically a bucket list of fun things that she should do that Emily would never normally do. And so this story is basically about Emily and all these new friends, and maybe more than friends, that she meets, and then basically completing this bucket list. And it's really about Emily at the end of the day. I think not hers and Sloane's friendship. It's about Emily, like, you know, really finding herself and becoming outgoing and more confident, because confidence is so important in this world. Self-esteem is everything if you want to be successful in life. This is just such a really great read. It's fun, it's emotional, it's so many amazing things, and yeah, that's another top book of 2015. Those were my top 15 sort of ish books of 2015. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and like the video, okay? Because liking the video really helps my video get suggested out there, and I would love to just share this with more people. And I love talking to you guys about books, so why not talk to more people? My social media is down in the description below, and yeah, I will see you guys next time. Bye!